Welcome to the Mantic Universe podcast for our follow-up episode of Ghost in the Shell. And again, with the lovely Alessio Cavatore. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. So, how are you? Everything going as expected?
Oh, we just came back from a UK Game Expo, and it's been incredible. As in, for the first time, I had the joy of being able to show off a prototype of the book. So we had these prototypes, which we had printed. This is a softback, obviously, with a big sticker that says prototype.
That's good.
because we didn't want people to think that this was the finished book, because the finished book is going to be in hardback, of course. But because we wanted to be able to go, oh, look, and flick through all the things inside, we had to print it, because, I mean, there is so much. When you look at this, pages in full color like that, alternating to amazing pages in black and white, that I don't know which ones I prefer, to be honest. They're both fantastic. I mean, look at this page.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really cool. I mean, I think seeing it's black and white and colored is a choice, I guess. But
it's like the manga. The manga has
very
sections in color at the beginning of each of the episodes. Starts in color and then fades into black and white. So I would say, I don't know, 10% of maybe less of each episode is in black and white, is in color at the start, and then progressively goes into black and white. So we kept that for the book. There, some sections start in color and then go to black and white, some color, some black and white. And there is full page artwork as well. I mean, look at this. This spread is again highly spectacular. Yes, and we got full pages of art. Like this has become the cover of one of the box sets. So yes, we have all sorts of cool art in here.
Yeah, right. So basically, you showed off the prototypes at UK Games Expo, and this means we are close to starting the campaign, I guess, or the sales. And how to say, it's a Kickstarter, but not on Kickstarter. It's going on.
It's crowdfunding. It's nothing to do with Kickstarter at all. It's crowdfunding, but it's on BackerKit. We use BackerKit as a platform for launching it because we think that RPGs these days seem to be very successful on BackerKit. BackerKit seem to have a kind of almost a specialization on RPGs, so we decided to use that.
Yeah, so you can.
Yeah, and the page is live.
Running into technical issues.
Technical issues. The message being, yes, the launch party page is live. We haven't told anybody yet. Well, I don't know when this interview is going to be live. So basically, at the time of filming this interview, we had made a page, but we haven't told anybody it existed. Yeah. So obviously, the next few days we'll start posting links and stuff, and there's interviews with links, etc., like yours. So it's going to be a matter of time, but slowly this will become more and more public. And the idea is July.
Yeah, right. So the page name will be Ghost in the Shell game.com. So not deck game, but ghostintheshellgame.com without spaces.
Yeah, that's the link, the generic link that brings you to this page. Yes, we had that URL. So Ghost in the Shell game, one word, ghostintheshellgame.com. Yeah, that's the easy one to remember.
So for people to access it, and dear listener, I'm now showing off a preview of the page. So obviously those listening on Spotify or other podcasts, go type in the page name and visit yourself. And for those watching in YouTube, we have a live preview. Preview.
And also you can simply go on BackerKit and in the search just put Ghost in the Shell RPG, whatever. You will find it easily.
So we don't know yet as on release if there's then more content there or not, because we have like Alessio said, the preview page already with that not publicly or not yet publicly announced. So, and it's going live on July 2026. With a small campaign, we get also the usual like early access add-ons or early baker add-ons with an exclusive hardback dust jacket, which is like a very nice artwork here.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
so on the campaign, I have to scroll in slowly. There's the free bookmark signs. Those
Yes, basically,
not
there's a.
yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to exclude those not one cheek, but just listening. I again have a cat around my mic, so please, just sorry about that one.
Cat attack.
Yeah, not on the keyboard, please. Yeah, so and all the nice details. There's also just scrolling down. We
Ooh,
also
what's
got
that?
a second mini. Ooh, so the
Oh,
main character will not be it's our all lovely. No, not robot. Robot tank is the wrong word for that thing. I think.
it's a Fuchikoma.
Yeah.
It's a Fuchikoma spider tank. Basically, it's one of the units that support the Section 9 of the police. Yes.
So just always thinking about what be the appropriate English or German name of those kind of things, because it's like so not pronouncing things wrong, of course.
How do you say spider in German?
Spinne.
So
So
Spinnenpanzer.
Spinnenpanzer. Yeah.
Spinnenpanzer.
Spider tank just sounds more cool, but then Spinnenpanzer is.
In Italiano, that would be I don't know, carro ragno. Carro
Still
ragno.
sounds cooler than the German one. So
Does it? Not to me. Not to me, perhaps. Yeah.
yeah, perhaps.
So carro
just
ragno.
switching around the things. And we also got a rulebook teaser. And so clicking on the ring, it's on Drive-Through RPG. You get a Ghost in the Shell rulebook teaser, which are some 27 pages of the rulebook. So for everyone to have a preview before they join the crowdfunding campaign and won't spend the money, you can have a quick read through the rules, look into what you want to get, if this is something you would like or not, which is a very good idea, I have to say, because it's like trusting the people that
Yes.
they know what they purchase. And yeah.
Yes, we thought that quite a few campaigns make a separate, like a guide for the games they're selling. But we thought that this one, because my style is minimalistic, so if we boil it down even more, it would be time in almost non-existent. It's actually, I would say, so we decided to actually show a number of pages from the rule book, the pages that show you, introduce you to the rules, introduce you to building a character. And therefore, and show off the artwork as well, because this is such a big part of it. Being that is based on the manga, we have access to all the artwork of the manga. The original manga is amazing. So yeah, wanted to show it off and give you a good idea of what's in the book and the style of the book and the way it's written. And so yeah, that's it. You can download the free PDF teaser. You can, if you subscribe to the. If you register your interest, you will get, and then back, of course, you will get a bookmark, which is again very pretty. And then if you leave £1 to confirm your support, as well as in advance, basically a little advance, then you also get that amazing dust jacket, which is, I have to say, I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, I think this is something nice. So I think this is just worth getting. So even if people don't want to have a lot from the RPG, getting the dust jacket and just frame it to hang it on the wall would be an option as well. Because it's just
yes, you could, couldn't you? Yes, good point.
Yeah. So there's something for everyone.
Also, if we get our way, and it looks like we may end up giving you something else to put on your wall. Let's not say anything anymore. It's too soon.
Still too soon.
Oh yes.
Okay. And I've just looked quickly through the preview on Try4RPG, and the full rulebook has about 140 pages, so a lot of content and a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
I have to say there are much bigger books around there. I again, as I said before, my rules are not. I find it more difficult and more challenging to create small things is more difficult than create big things, right? I think the Mark Twain quote where he says, "I wanted to write you a brief letter, but I didn't have time, so I wrote you a long letter." Is very true, because just put lots of stuff and not refine it, not test it is easy. Trying to capture something with something simple, minimalistic, pure, and still full of potential is difficult. But that's what we'll try to do.
So yeah, I've seen this also when writing things, that writing a lot is easy. Just narrow it down to the essential part is the hard work and the tiny things. So
Absolutely.
But it's I have to say, this is something I very appreciate from Mantic in general, because they have this essential rules where really have only the necessary part, no long words, no hard talking about anything, just really that thing you need as an easy to learn thing, because it's also much who wants to read rule books. This is like, it's someone saying, oh, I have to read through 500 pages to just get the game going. That's not something people will do. It's like having it the shorter the better. And so I appreciate this in general from Mantic Games, to try to get things as easy and simple as possible to get it done. So I'm really looking forward to getting in there. And I'm also, just when I look at the contents pages, we have this also armored vehicles for the games. So
yes, which are not a central part of the game, particularly because you start as a trainee agent, and so you don't really want to be facing against a spider tank, not a Fuchikoma. Fuchikomas are relatively small, the size of a car. No, if you actually battle tanks, main army battle tanks is something that, we have the stats in the game. But at the start of your career, you may not want to face those, right? It's like if you use Dungeons and Dragons, this is like facing a dragon with a level 1 character. It's like you don't really want to do
it's
that.
not that one we want to go. But I just like, as a fan of the first movie, just simply having the option to recreate the battle from the last part of it in the RPG. That's an option, and this is something really looking forward to. So I guess playing through the full movie as a scenario or playing would be possible then.
Well, you have the stats of the main characters. You have the stats of the tanks, but that's definitely not what the RPG is about. The RPG is
obviously. It's all about the manga, the original source, and it's very truthful to the source. But
it's also you start small. The characters are trainees; they are rookies. They just started their career, so they can see the main characters and interact with Bato mostly, because Bato is training them; is in charge of training. But the other characters are, you occasionally catch a glimpse of the major and go, oh, I think I've seen the major in that corridor, kind of thing. But you normally don't interact with them, at least at the start of your career.
Yeah, right. So, but it's just good to have all the options for people who want different flavor, different content, because there are for sure those out who have never had contact with the manga but just the movies. So for them, it's just like, it's an option to go that road down. And
I think people you can play with all the main characters if you want. All the stats are there, so people can decide to go, let's play with the main characters. There you go. As long as the GM then adapts the adventure to be difficult enough, that's fine. And also, I guess if you've never seen the manga and you've just seen if you just never read the manga but you've seen the movies and the anime, well, I guess I hope that this will invite you, kind of entice you to go and then read the manga, because I think it's worth it. I think particularly the first 2 volumes of the manga for me are amazing. The 3rd volume is so complicated. Often, whenever somebody else has read it, I always go, So what did you understand of the third one? Because it gets so philosophical. It's quite
Yeah,
quite
it's
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's a good one. So, right for discussion. It's also we have July. I think is also the time the new series or anime
That's
is
right.
starting around. If I get that
That's
correctly.
right.
So
Yes.
it's
Yes, and that
a
yes,
tied in release kind of.
absolutely. And it's just amazing that the new series, the new anime, is actually like our comic, very much based on the original manga. The style is similar. The story seems to be similar from the trailer. So cool.
Yeah,
We're all
and
going there.
something a little bit off topic just to ask because I have seen this is announced that the first two episodes of the new anime are shown in the UK cinemas. So will you go or not?
Oh yes. Oh yes. The moment we finish this call, I'll go and book tickets right now. Oh yes.
Right. So this being a tie-in release, and so the big question now for people is how long they have to wait to get their stuff. Because when there's a crowdfunding in July, and often there's a year-long wait on content and things. So what's the expected time frame when we can start playing?
And this is probably the biggest announcement we can do. This is the most exciting thing for me because, like you're saying, often you do a Kickstarter or a back a kit or a game or whatever, one of these campaigns, one of these crowdfunding campaigns, and actually see what you have purchased. Normally, is like a year, and by the time the thing arrives, you're gonna go, huh? What's this? I forgot. I completely forgotten about it. And what we are doing here is almost like a pre-launch, really crowdfunding. Maybe it's call it maybe a pre-launch is better to call it because at the end of the campaign, which we're talking, I'm guessing the end of July or beginning of August, kind of depends how big it gets and how long it lasts. But towards the end of July, or beginning of August, when the campaign finishes, you fill your pledge manager. The moment you press done and finish your pledge manager, pin, you get the book. Obviously, not physically, you get the PDF, the digital book immediately. Immediately. Finished, book, ready. It's not wait a year, it's now. Yeah. So you get it, you can download, we'll upload character sheets and the essential things you need, and you can start playing right away. You can print hopefully the STLs of the miniatures and the rule book, hopefully some more accessories. But the point is the book that is available straight away. It includes the first mission is there. Yeah. We are writing more missions, but you can start playing this in late July, early August, whenever the campaign finishes. Whenever you finish
The
putting in
pledge
your pledge
manager. Yeah.
manager.
So
Meow.
meow, not a
It's very
cat.
excited about this, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously. So, other question is, will there be an option for late pledges or something like this? Because in the past it wasn't just on the campaign side, but like
This is too technical for me. I think
yeah,
Ross of Mantic would be the best person to ask this to in a separate interview, etc. I don't know. I don't know
yeah, maybe.
exactly the
Okay.
structure
No,
of that.
because it's
That's not
just
what I
something
do. I tend to. Yeah.
people like to ask because very often this is like that the different campaign sites have not all payment options available, and then it's like, oh, I have no credit card but I need one to join, so maybe a late pledge where I can use a different payment method or through the Mantic shop. So
I honestly don't know because
no,
again,
okay.
my specialty is designing the games, not doing the crowdfunding in so much detail. The technical side of crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know that I've heard that Back a Kit has this nice feature where as long as people keep backing, the campaign doesn't end. So it only ends after somebody stops backing for a certain period of time. So in theory, the campaign could last, who knows, how
Who
long.
knows? Yeah, maybe. So I have just I haven't used BakerKit in the past, so I'm not sure. I have to check. Dear listener, we will try to get this info as soon as possible, and maybe update it in the comments later, or our editor edit in when this episode go live. In other case, we'll just come back to you as soon as possible. And right, so talking about the campaign and waiting for a year. So what do you expect, or what can the bakers or crowdfunders expect to get when they have to wait for some time? So because there's obviously the hardback book, there are some miniatures as they were already previewed. What else might
Yes.
be there?
Yes, the bits I know that are approved and ready to go, and therefore for certain that there are more things that may or may not appear during the campaign, depending on how the campaign goes. But the things that definitely will appear are, of course, the rulebook, the GM screen, which looks amazing. I wish I could show you. But so the GM screen, which has got incredible artwork on one side and information on the other side, pad of character sheets, and we'll probably stick in some pre-generated ones as well, I'm sure, and a set of dice, because of course you need a special themed dice for this. And as part of the campaign, I'm sure there will be 3 more missions because they're being written, but so the delivery of those, I'm not sure. Again, it will depend where we are at the time of the campaign. But the things that are ready and finished to go are those, and they will be in the campaign for sure. And the missions, for sure.
So in an ideal world, you get the digital rules, play through the first missions, and once you are done with that one, the Kickstarter with another 3 missions arrive.
There are 3 more missions, and the time of when all the physical stuff will be fulfilled, whether the 3 missions are digital, physical, in a book, okay, it will really entirely depend how the launch goes. So again, and that will determine also when they land, in which format, are they physical, are they digital, are they both? Yeah, all of that will be formed during the campaign, I guess. But yes, that's the thing. The rule book, the rules, the first mission are there, and of course, if you have a good GM, then after you play the first mission, he can start making up more missions as well.
Right. Talking miniatures, we have seen 2 of them. One being the important one as the major, honest to the to the manga, not any of the movies that people know.
Of course.
It's about 32 millimeters scale, so not just the regular tabletop miniature or D&D miniature, but a little bit larger. What else can we expect, or can you tell us how big the range? So the main thing is, do we get the other main characters? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. We do a collectible box which has basically that one you're showing, which is for people that are on the podcast, is the one that we use as a promotional miniature at the moment. So it's available. You can purchase it at events, or I think also sometimes on the Mantic website. But that is the major, let's say, at rest. It kind of looks a bit moody before the mission. Is one of those, existential moments in Ghost in the Shell. But the other miniatures that are being, well, actually 6 of them are approved and ready to go. I think in the page you can start to see the Fuchikoma, which Fox is a star, I think, in the lineup. I love the Fuchikoma miniature, but like I say, 32 mil is not particularly big. I mean, it is the scale of miniatures these days. All the major brands. They all, it used to be called 25 mil. Is never really 25 mil. So it's normal scale. It goes well with other miniatures. What are the characters? So Bato, of course. There is a major, again, this time in action, not at rest, but not in a thinking mood, but actually in full action. In fact, she's doing something that pretty much only a cyborg, full cyborg, can do, because she's both running at great speed. The miniature confers this incredible speed of movement while actually firing aim shots at the same time. So you can go, how do you run at top speed and fire aim shots at the same time? That's impossible. Oh, wait, no. If you're a full cyber, you can do that. Because your cyber brain is compensating. But so there's a major, there's Bato, of course, and the Fuchikoma, and the other three that make up the first cast of six are, of course, Saito, the sniper with his sniper rifle, and then we have Tugusa. Tugusa, the younger member of Section 9 with his pistol and his business suit.
So the non-cybernetic one.
Yes, and of course, Chief Aramaki, the old guy, monkey face, the monkey man, as they call him. Again, so those are the first lineup that we're going for. And of course, once again, if the campaign is big, then we'll keep going, and we go, Borma, and all of the other, Ishikawa. This old Proto would be cool. So we'll do all the other ones, but good way to do.
Yeah. See, we have those. Maybe this is live. So for those listening, there's this a small picture from the UK Games Expo I was allowed to show, which is just showing us the Major and our spider robot tank.
That was a prototype. Is a prototype, obviously. It's been just again quickly, like the book is a prototype that we quickly made. That's quickly being printed.
Just for people. So I'm not sure if Mantic is going to show off these pictures from the Games Expo when this episode goes live already. So those listening, you may find this online or not, or other promo pictures. For those watching on YouTube, you get a glimpse of the scale about those miniatures. So what to expect.
But more importantly,
also from the book.
From this picture in the top left corner, you can see the GM screen. See the thing on that iPad over there. There's the GM screen. You can see the top and the bottom, which is basically the front and the back of the GM screen.
That's really going to be nice. So, a digital version of the GM screen. I just know. Dreaming ahead. No, because this is something I have seen. Friend of mine has done this once to have a more sturdy GM screen. He just printed the digital one and then transferred then on a wooden screen to get things done. So maybe having a digital version of things is an option for some people to get creative.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
So in that case, there's a lot of things to look forward to, and just need to wait a second until the cat settles again, because it's
clearly the cats seem to like the Ghost in the Shell. They seem very interested.
It's not yet decided if we want to get petted or watch the screen what we are doing in here, and. Right, so we also have a preview of the character sheets in here, again with a very nice artwork. And this is also, as I said, the character sheet for the Major is in there, for all the big characters. Do we need, how to phrase that one without sounding annoying? Do we need a playmat and terrain and the miniatures to play the RPG, or is it just can go without those? Because modern D&D is a lot with the playmats and the miniatures, and some people think it's required, but I guess this is just, you don't need the miniatures to play.
It's definitely not required, of course. It's a traditional pen and paper RPG. So I've seen it played when we play tested. We had just a classic, map, a big white piece of paper where the GM was drawing with a marker, and then we were using other miniatures, chess pieces, whatever we had, counters to position, the bad guys and our characters during a firefight. We used all sorts of miniatures from other games, which of course we cannot show because it would be a conflict of interest, a conflict of licenses. But we used transparent. Somebody cast 3D printed and casted a transparent version of miniatures, so they had when they were activating the thermo-optical camouflage, they go like, "Whoop! This is my transparent miniature, my invisible miniature."
That's an interesting one. So maybe something to look forward to. So for Mantic, if you ever want to go
For
a
sure.
second set, make transparent
For
ones
sure. For
interesting.
sure.
But now talking miniatures, because we get the initial ones, we have Mantic is at the moment, they have a very nice set of sci-fi themed plastic terrain sets. So might be an interesting option to just use that terrain setup to build a small little board for your RPG to go into. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
not sure how well the firefight miniatures are suited to do. I mean, they would have the right scale and possibilities, but
Yeah, the scale is the same, but of course, we cannot officially
yeah, obviously,
we cannot officially do that.
yeah. So for people, but just to know, if you want to have different miniatures or a plastic set to go with models and get creative or things like that, or just want a glimpse of cyberpunk sci-fi terrain to play, you can use the Mantic ones around. It's for Dead Zone, or also go simple, and I think the Halo Flashpoint terrain, if you prefer cardboard, is also an option. Just so not officially licensed because it's a different IP and things like that, but you can go when you not going to bake the crowdfunding, but go later in the shop and buy things, go with the Mantic website and just go through the terrain offerings and miniatures to check out what they have and what you need, if you need miniatures, that said. I'm
That's
still
not a
more
bad
like
idea.
the very classic RPG guy to play without, for no special reason except that I'm just like my miniature games and my RPGs to be different and not overlapping too much. It's that's just on me. So right. Any other big news you can or want to tell us about the gaming, like long-term support, translations, or anything decided yet?
Well, the conversation with the partners in different territories have begun, and again, I don't know what stage they will be now and when this interview goes live, etc. But yes, there are certainly interested parties in translating and localizing this product for sure. It's a very popular product in Europe and in the US, and yes, so definitely there are definitely interested parties. Um, so translations, yes, I think they're gonna happen. In terms of announcements, I think I already possibly have said too much already. It's just so difficult to resist because I'm so excited about this, and I always end up saying too much too soon.
There's never too much on a podcast, it's but right. So then let's look a little bit into a different and more interesting, or different interesting part of the game, and it's like the character creation, because we have this
Yes,
from the free PDF. You also have a character sheet on there. We have the usual sections to see. We have our hit points. We have, which are not very few. We have a hit points and armor sections. So it's
that's
like,
right. I'm glad you
and
noticed that. Yes, we could talk about that hit points and armor. There's a little diagram for people that don't have just on the podcast. There's a little diagram with the human shape and each location. So you have a head location, torso location, and then two arm locations or two legs locations. And normally when you're hit by a weapon, you roll randomly on which part of your body is hit, and then you roll for the amount of damage that the weapon does, and subtract any armor on that location, and then that's whatever the difference is, the amount of damage you take on that location. And like you noticed, there's not a lot of points of damage in those locations. If you consider that a normal pistol does these 6 points of damage, if a pistol shot hits a unarmored location, then there's a decent chance that location will be destroyed by the shot. To be fair, if you basically the first time you go around those boxes, you tick them once, half a slice, and that's like a superficial damage. once you've done that, then you start crossing them out, and that's literally gone. So it's like double the amount of points you see there. But the idea is that shot in the head, even with a normal pistol, there is a good chance you die. Very, very good chance that you lose consciousness, and a good chance you die. An arm you may lose. You may be seriously injured, or you lose it. And this is by design, intentionally, so that the combat is incredibly bloody, incredibly dangerous. Because again, we are talking about a pistol. Well, of course, the bad guys here don't often use. Well, of course, they use pistols, but they also use assault rifles. They also use sniper rifles, anti-materiel rifles, explosive, grenade launchers. So the chance of suffering major damage during firefights is real. And I think it's important to say that has two effects. The first one is you're afraid of going to a firefight. You kind of go, that's really something you don't want to do. Like in reality, you're not really, that's not a nice thing to do, getting shot at. And the second thing is you will probably end up during a mission in a firefight anyway, and you're probably going to lose some body parts in the process, if you survive, that is. And of course, being a cyberpunk system, being a cyberpunk world, losing a body part is not the end of the world, except for your brain. Losing your brain, as in, that's it, character gone. But otherwise, if you survive the shock and the bleeding, and you manage to get some medical attention, then you probably end up okay after a while with a cyber part. So your arm is now cybernetic, not real, etc. So, which is is big part of the Ghost in the Shell.
Right. Something that. Okay, so then we have those two sections on there for cybernetics, of course. So the improvements you get, or the replacement parts after you're wounded. Especially we have the preview on bar 2 on the PDF, which has the cybernetic sense for eyes.
Yep.
The not so obvious one is the other section is setbacks. So what are there the trade-offs you get from cybernetics, or is this such character trade-offs, or how would you describe that?
It may be either. So what happens is when you build a character, as you can see, there is no class. There isn't like, I'm a sniper, I'm a medic, etc. So we went for a classless system. Well, the character is defined by the traits. So you see at the start there's Ghost, Shell, Cyberbrain. And all of those traits have subgroups. So you have muscle and reflexes for your body, for your shell. You have awareness and presence for your Ghost. And you have the barrier and the hacking levels for your Cyberbrain. So the characters are defined by those traits, but also by the skills. You see there's a long list of skills on the right of the sheet. And that's where at the start, you populate with a number of skills. And that defines your character. So if I put a lot of skills in sniper rifle and a lot of skills in marksmanship and reflexes, so if I basically try to build up my characters so that this is really good shot with a long range rifle, you tend to go in that way. But then you go, but I also would like to be good with a knife, with close edge combat, because when the sniper gets found and attacked at close range, then you need to be able to defend yourself. And then you go, but I want to be stealthy, so I put some stealth skills in there. So you build your character the way you think it should be. If I want to be a hacker, I will go into technological, scientific hacking. If I want to be, a policeman, maybe I'll go into and build a character that has skills in, maybe some firearms, but also investigation, connection with maybe the underground, that kind of experience of forensics. So you will have a character that is more like that. If you say, I'm an ex-soldier, a mercenary, I don't know, you're going to, I know how to use assault rifles and machine guns and explosives, and you build the soldier type. So, it's up to you, really, what you want to be. You want to be a doctor, a medic, So I was an army medic, therefore I can patch you up, and I can also use these medical tools as weapons. I can use these nanites to heal you, to save your life, to patch up your wounds, but also to infiltrate maybe. So it's down to the players. And you were asking about the setbacks. So as well as building your skill set, you also must pick one setback, which is basically for flavor, for giving your character some weakness, which is some challenging part of there. It could be a physical setback, it could be a mental setback, it could be psychological. So there's different things. It could be neither. It could just be that you have made an enemy during your career, and therefore there's a guy that really wants to kill you somewhere. So you may have setbacks. You must have one, but you can choose another one. If you choose a second one, then you get more skills, more points to spend on skills, which we find is a very popular option. So that allows you to role play more if you like role play, or just to play on points and optimize if you're more of a competitive guy. So the competitive guy will go, okay, what's the least important of the setback? What's the thing that I really don't care? And if I am, I don't know, a loner, I don't interact well with people, I'm gonna go, I don't care. I already am like that. So stuff like that. So you can add a second setback, and then, like you were saying, in the future, during development, during the game, cyber part could cause more setbacks if there's like a rejection of your body that rejects the new cyber part. If the GM thinks that you've been in a particularly traumatic situation, it may give you a setback. Also, the synthesis conflict, which is that gauge that you see to the left of the hip and armor. And for people that don't have the image, is basically is a section of the character sheet, which is, I guess, if it was a more normal RPG, it would be where you would find like the alignment, the motivation of your character, and there you put in Ghost in the Shell. We created this synthesis conflict. Zach Barrow is the author of that concept, of that rule, which originally I thought it was too complicated, but Zach insisted so much, and he was right. He was absolutely right in keeping it, because this is so Ghost in the Shell, and I was totally wrong, and he was totally right in that. So basically, the synthesis conflict is when you create a character, you pick two traits in contrast with one another, and so you have this internal debate, this internal strife between two different things, which, for example, could be, let's take Togusa as an example. It could be your family. You're a family man, you just married, you just had a daughter, a young baby, but on the other hand, you want a career in Section 9 because you want to be successful, you believe in what you're doing, you want to be a team, part of the team, you want the respect of the other team members. So you have these two paths, which very often are in contrast. When they say this is a really dangerous mission, and you can go, oh, I just had a baby. Oh, maybe So that contrast is a strong, powerful thing, and you put those two traits into the system. You start on a D4 for both, and one is on a D6, and then those are bonuses that you can use. The player can role play and to gain advantages. For example, you could say, "Oh, I really think of my wife, and I really want to. I cannot. I'm really tired and wounded, but I need to find the energy to get out of here to save her because I want to go back to my wife." So, and then you get to add those dice to whatever level that side of the thing is. But the more you do it, the higher that gets, the more powerful that becomes. And so the player can do that, but also the GM can do that. When he says, "Okay, I'm just about to run to help my friends because they're in danger," and the GM says, "Oh," and suddenly an image of your newborn child paralyzes you completely. You start to think of her, and you cannot move. Take a test. Take a test to see whether you can move or not. And so it can be used with the player, by the player, against the player. It's basically the development of these two things, and they are in contrast. And when they reach the maximum, they are both temporary and permanent levels. But basically, there are moments of crisis where you will have to solve this crisis and trying to bring them down or turn them from temporary into permanent. And eventually, this will probably cause your character to have what we call a definitive crisis, ultimate crisis, and leave the team, abandon, just either go mad or decided to retire and leave the
Yeah.
team. We've seen plenty of that in the story, of course, in the show. And the major herself at some point decides, "That's it,
That's it. Yeah,
I'm
it's
gone.
good.
Goodbye."
It's, I mean, that could be an interesting option for people to role play a real life situation when they need to pause a campaign or cannot join for several runs or whatever happens. So and then the character prefers family over the team and just gets that
Yes,
as a
yes. I mean,
progress.
some people put down like revenge versus
Yeah.
duty. So there's like I shouldn't be maybe has a big feud with somebody in the underground, in the criminal
Mm.
underground, organized crime, and so maybe the character decides that no, I'm going to go on a rampage of murder, which is like it's not really what I should be doing as a member of Secret Nine, but yeah. So yes, it could disappear to do that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at the aspects examples on the free PDF, and I mean, hope versus cynicism is the one I like. That is
Yes, and it's a very realistic one, isn't it? Is that
yeah, it's
strife between being optimistic and looking at the bright side and trying to believe in things versus the cynical side of you, the things, yeah, no, it's all bad. So we're corrupt,
it's
like them. It doesn't matter what we do. But yes, that.
yeah. So right, so I get so there's a lot of role playing options in there actually already on character creation where you have to think not just roll for stats, get with the best ones around, optimize a build, but just like yeah, really. And not deciding a class or anything early on means there's a lot of freedom later on to change, I guess. So if someone
Yes,
puts
you can develop new skills. You can make your skills better. So you can improve the things you have, but you can also add new skills. So you can go on a different, slightly different
yeah.
tour or side.
So talking this, how easy, I would say, is it to replace different cybernetics later on? Like when you cite your early on, I get wounded and got a close combat attachment, and then later decide, nah, I want to go more in a range
Well,
combat route and replace your parts again. Is this an option in the
whenever
game?
Yeah, but whenever you implant new things, you have to roll for a to avoid rejection. So it's always a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not automatically, oh yes, it's going to be fine, and that could give you physical problems, could give you mental problems, setbacks,
Yeah.
etc. So it is kind of down to the GM how he wants to handle that. But there are some guidance there. But the one point that is we tend to think is not really a voluntary thing. It's not just like, oh, I want to replace my arm with a cyber arm because it's still a big thing. It's your arm. So actually
Yeah.
deciding to
And
not have an arm is
I mean,
so
there
it's more
will be
like
people who think otherwise. So it's
yes. Well, we tend to think of it as a replacement of parts you lose in combat as opposed to I'll just get an upgrade
yeah.
kind of thing. That could actually be a psychological either a setback or one of your problems there that maybe you are a strange person that actually wants to be cybernetic, which is not normally seen as a nice thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, the game has a like the comic has an emphasis on the fact that cyber parts may be stronger than the real life parts and tougher for sure, but as long as you implant a cyber part into an organic body, the power of these parts is not unlimited because there's a very good example in the comic where basically it shows that yeah, I can have an arm which is strong enough to lift a car. Yeah, so my elbow can bend like a
Yeah.
crank in the things you use to lift the car. However, if I try to then lift the car, this cyber arm is connected to my flesh and bone shoulder, to my bone here. So the arm will come off.
Yeah.
Because my bone here will not be able to, my ligaments, all these parts of my body will not be able to take the weight of a car, right? So the idea is the power of your cyber arm is limited to the fact that it's attached to a real body. the only and therefore in game terms, your profile can only your shell values, so your muscle and your reflexes, can only go up to a D8 by applying by normal training. They can go up to a D10 or a D12 with cyber parts, but they cannot go to the D20 because basically the system goes 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and then the 20 is a big jump. It's not like going from to 12. It is a lot of steps. So we left that as the realm of the cybernetic, of the pure robots, or indeed full cyborgs, like the Major, because then your arm is connected to a titanium skeleton, which can take the weight of a car. Yeah. so you can lift the car. So it's a big jump between the partial cyborg to the full cyborg.
Okay. So right. So well, I have to say, so all the possibilities there to be a strange person or not, or to be in line with everything or not. And a mechanical question on that one, because I'm looking through the skill on the example sheets provided, and just in some of them are fixed numbers while others are dice to roll. So what's the idea behind those to be?
Normally the basic traits and skills are a number value. So D4 would be, so for example, if we look at the basic traits, D4 would be the level of a untrained human, me, a civilian. A D6 would be that of a trained human, somebody who experienced human, somebody who's like an experienced policeman or experienced agent. D8 is the hero level. This guy is really good, the best there is, in that field. So he's a hero level human. But that's the maximum really for your body. And therefore, the way to develop more than is cyber parts. You can go D10, you can go D12. And also cyber parts normally allow you to upgrade, and upgrading means going up one step. So the Major would be a D12, but she can upgrade to D20. So when she does a thing where the cyber part is relevant to the test you're taking. Tests are taken against, the GM will decide the difficulty. So, an average thing would be difficulty 4. And then, of course, if you roll a D4, like a normal human, rolling a 4 is difficult, right? If you're a good trained agent, rolling a 4 on a D6, well, that's, 50-50. And if you're super a hero guy, then you're more likely to pass than to fail, and so on. So the GM will determine the difficulty based on there are guidelines and charts, particularly with combat and hitting things and cover and all of that. So that it gives if you're partially obscure, then +2 to the difficulty, blah blah blah. So all this kind of stuff are there. And you were saying why some of the things are fixed. Some things are fixed because they normally are the thing you roll against. The best example is the barrier. So your cyber brain has a hacking value, which is a dice, how good you are at penetrating defenses.
Yeah.
But the barrier is a number because that's the difficulty that people need to beat to get into your brain, to get through your system. And there are ways of making it easier. Obviously, the most obvious one is when they manage to plug into your ports at the back of the neck, which opens up the access and makes it very easy to hack you. On the other end, when they are trying to hack you remotely, you can voluntarily shut off your brain and go into like airplane mode. So you can go, right, I close the connections. So you lose the connection to the internet, so suddenly you're not connected, which obviously is a drawback, but also it protects you from, like, your barrier goes up to 12, 13 if I'm wrong. So I basically become, I'm a barrier 13, so you need to be on a D20 to try to even hack me, stuff like that. Oh, sorry. One important detail is, of course, all dice can explode. So if you roll the maximum with a dice, then you get to roll the next dice, and you take the highest result. Even if you roll multiple dice, you always take the highest result. So rolling more dice, good, because you average your results. You try to get, it's easier to get a good result. Rolling bigger dice, of course, better because you have a higher potential. And yes, there's also the Ghost Whisper points, but I don't want to go into that.
Yeah, and just before we go into the Ghost Whisperer points, I the one question I have now is it how easy or complicated is it to play as a pure hacker? Because it's like, that there's always some characters or some classes that are easier to play through the missions. Like there's
Yes.
the melee guy, the close combat, the range combat, the sniper. Sometimes you say, yeah, the sniper is the easiest one because a lot of damage without being in danger. But then there's hacking, so the sniper can always get hacked if they use too much. But the hack is something I wouldn't say unique to that game, but usually what people are not familiar because this is something that isn't in D&D and as the most popular game. So how easy or
Yes.
complicated is to play the hacker part?
Well, it's. I mean, the system is that you roll your skills and your hacking skill plus any applicable skills that you have to that hacking attempt against the barrier. And if you equal or beat the barrier, then you're successful. And basically, if you fail, the subject, the target realizes you're trying to do that, so he's aware of that and could counteract, could come at you. Is bad. If you succeed a little, then you can start to influence a bit. Maybe read. You're kind of on a read-only mode. But if you beat, the more you beat, the more access you get, more control you get on the target, up to the what in the shell is what is called the ghost line, which is basically the soul, I guess, is where you reach that line, that mysterious line. Then if you breach into that, then you can actually just kill, as in you can wipe the brain and you can do horrible things, which some people would judge immoral and would not do. But like you say, is a powerful thing, and we have seen that often the GM is the one that ultimately decides the limits and tweaks how powerful he wants to be, also because it will be useful for the story, of course, as they try to balance things out. The idea is that if you hack wirelessly from over the internet from a distance, you can wire anybody that is connected to the internet. So it's very powerful. You can hack anywhere, anybody in the world, kind of thing. Anybody or any computer system, security cameras is a classic. I'll try to switch off all the security cameras on floor 11, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the most difficult one. If you actually are in line of sight to the target cyber brain, then you kind of have like a, let's say, Bluetooth connection, so it's easier, closer, and you can instead of going through the signal, the radio signal, you're more direct. And then, of course, like I said, the best thing is if you manage to literally, there are some attack cable couplings, things, wires that you can either physically plug in or indeed shoot. And if you manage to hit there and connect, then that makes it very, very easy to hack. Yes, I mean, I've seen this game played in a very existential, philosophical way, with lots of debate, lots of investigation, lots of talking, like sessions where nothing happens in terms of action, but there's a lot of conversation and investigation, and going into bars and asking, into your contacts in the underworld. It's like, oh, but these guys, all right, where can I find him? So you have all these technological, or physical classic investigation. And there are moments instead of big action and firefights and combat. And actually it depends on the groups and on the GM. Some people prefer the more action-based stuff. Some people prefer the more introspective things. And I guess as long as the GM can adapt to the players, then everybody seems to have fun.
Yeah, so very versatile. It's also what I've got. The hacker isn't just a straightforward one, because you need to decide how close you want to get to the targets, what method you want to use to hack, a risk-reward system to a point, but useful in non-action ways, but also during actions, as you can lock off a threat by being good at ranged hacking and things like that. So it's...
Well, I mean, the example you used of everybody wants to be the sniper because he's less in danger and high damage, etc., until the hacker finds the sniper, hacks the sniper, and then the sniper starts to shoot their own side instead of the enemy side. And you're gonna go,
So it might be because so from my point of view, the hacker is the most interesting choice, obviously, because this is something not many other games have, or not other IPs to say have the possibility to, because just playing a powerful, like everyone is going to the classic D&D. You play the warrior with the two weapons, or the wizard and things like that. But then there's nothing like a hacker in there. So I'm
I
looking
think the
forward to
closest I
that
can
one.
think in traditional role playing to this is the illusionist, where you have
Mm,
to be clever. You have to. It's a bit more complicated often for the GMs as well, because it's like, oh, this is an illusion. I make them see things that are not there. Part of hacking is that is like,
yeah,
changing their perception and stuff. So I think the closest I can think of is the illusionist of a traditional
yeah.
RPG.
But right, so we have now this actually unique part of the game. That's the ghost whispers. So as I see, the defaults are chosen to start with are 4, and what can a new player use those for?
Yeah, I mean, you say unique, but I mean, to be honest, the idea of plot points is not new. It's just that it
No,
fits really, really well into the Ghost in the Shell, because so plot points in terms of Ghost Whispers is something that is based on the major often saying that, my ghost is whispering to me, and it feels like she's talking about intuition, or gut feeling, and that kind of I think, or experience, mix of that. But later on in the comic, you start to realize and find that there is a such thing as the Japan summoning psychic division,
yeah,
that has agents which are psychics effectively. So you start to go, oh wait, they can. So there is particularly this one agent that seems to follow the major and speak to her later on mentally. So you kind of go, oh, so maybe when she's saying that her ghost is whispering to her, what does she mean exactly? So he plays a bit on that, and the idea is that your ghost whispers are points that you acquire by being cool, by doing cool stuff, by doing stuff that, basically the GM will reward you with these, say, like inspiration. It's like, you've done something really great. You could have done it in a plain way, but you've done it in a cool way instead, and everybody had fun because of that. Here's some points. And we could play through again from the synthesis conflict and the way you handled your synthesis, the conflict between your two traits, two aspects. But basically, you earn them, but then you spend them, and you spend them. The most obvious thing is re-rolling dice, changing the result of dice, deciding the result of dice. So the more you spend, the more control you have of the dice. Classic example. That's pretty much how player characters have a hope of surviving a bit longer than non-player characters,
mm,
because non-player character is hit in the head, stays
he's
hit in
dead.
the head, and probably dies. Player character, you hit in the head and go, oh, I'll spend a few Ghost Whisper points, because basically my soul, my ghost has whispered to me, duck. So, I either get missed or I get hit at least in the shoulder, not head, kind of thing.
Mm,
That kind of stuff. The inspiration of the moment of something tells you, watch out, dodge, move.
yeah,
So that's your ghost has whispered to you to keep your head down, whatever, take cover, and so you spend them to. You can spend them also for changing the plot. For example, the classic thing is like, did we search the prisoners? It's like, oh no, we forgot to search the prisoners. Right, let's use a few Ghost Whisper points and say that we did search the prisoners. Yes. All right, okay. If you did search the prisoner, then you found this key card, blah blah
yeah.
blah, that opens this door. Like, yes, So you can use them for that as well.
So it's also how to say, to keep a lethal and realistic game ongoing despite bad dice rolls, but also have the role playing choice to compensate things you forget, or to add new. When I say to annoy the GM to a point, it's
Sometimes indeed, yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
Right. So it's like, oh, it sounds like a fun mechanic in general. It's I think it's a good way to have it in there to keep things down instead of like weapons doing less damage to keep the players alive. Having this option is more truthful and more role playing esque, if I say it that
Yeah, I
way.
think it fits the IP well. Right. I think we're getting
Yeah.
to we've gone over an hour, so I think people by now are falling asleep. Probably we should get to the end.
Right. Yeah. So one last question now, because I'm looking through the free PDF, as already said very often, and there's also a requisition list for weapons and gadgets in
Yes.
there, and or
Yes.
gadgets, and just so there's a lot of stuff available, and you have the different points costs in
Yes.
there, and just as an example to mention the ranged weapons, there's like you can get the pistol for 2 points or the heavy machine gun for 10 points. And now the big question is, how easy or difficult is it to earn those points? Like, is this
Yeah.
different in 8 points something you need to work for or
Yes.
to get from the start?
That's a very good question. Unlike other RPGs where you normally have your gear, this is
Yeah.
my stuff. I found the new swords, that kind of stuff, and this mine, and this is not at all like that. Those points are basically a reflection of what level you are in Section 9. And the idea is when Bato says you have to go on this mission, there's the armory, arm yourself, equip yourself for this mission. The team goes in and decides, it's like, okay, so what are we going to do? Well, this is not a fight. We're not going there to fight. We're going there to investigate. So I'll take the spy microphone and the invisibility thing and that and the little bug drone thing that infiltrates. And
Yeah.
so you equip yourself for the mission. I would always recommend to have some kind of sidearm just in case things tend to go wrong. But it's not. I'm not going there loaded up with weapons. I'm going there with just I have a pistol, maybe a knife hidden or something like that. But that's it. I'm not wearing tons of armor and and a ballistic shield. No. I'm in civilian clothes. We're going into this bar to investigate, but of course the bar is owned by the yakuza. So I'll have a gun. Still, a pistol hidden in my shoulder, in my holster. But so you equip yourself for the mission, and how many points you can spend, say 12 to start with per player, is decided. Bato tells you that you have this much access, level of access, and you equip yourself, do that part of the mission, come back, hopefully in one piece, and then there's a new part of the mission. We go, okay, we know where the hostage is. We know we need to breach into this building, and there's 10 guys there with assault rifles and grenade launchers. So that's when you go, right, I'll take the sniper rifle, I'll take the heavy sniper rifle, you take the heavy machine gun, and you put yourself over there right now. I'll go with knives and armor and invisibly thermo-optical camouflage, and I go in and stab them. So that's when you prepare for battle effectively. You kind of go, and you do it as a team. And the medic will go, right, I'll take the thing to stop bleeding, because and there's the classic joke of like, grenades. How many grenades do we take? Like, should we take grenades? Because they're really dangerous. They tend to bounce off things and explode next to you and stuff like that. The amount of times we hurt ourselves with a grenade is hilarious. So we're a little afraid of explosive things and grenades. But so you equip yourself, and it's fun. You do it as a team. It's actually a big part of the session is planning that action and going, right, are you taking the sniper rifle this time? It's like, all right, okay, I'll take it, kind of thing.
And then using the Ghost Whisper point because no one brought a med kit.
Exactly. Oh, I forgot. Did you take the med kit? No, I thought you took the med kit.
Someone did.
Yes.
Right. So we are good into 1 hour now. So I'm more or less closing this one. So I'm not sure when this episode goes live, but for the most part, I think it will be at least before July, so before the campaign starts. Just not sure when. I guess mid of June somewhere. to get all the information confirmed and out, so that we haven't told you anything that we shouldn't tell you already or not being known yet. Any big other announcement you have, something to want to tell people out there, except for going in crowdfunding, keep being excited for the game?
Well, I think the most exciting thing that people should keep in mind is that this is not a campaign where you wait a year to get the stuff. This is a campaign where at the end of the campaign you get the stuff digitally, of course. The physical one will arrive later. We haven't invented teleportation yet, so the physical stuff will take its time. But the digital stuff, the digital book, bang, straight away. Play the game. Play the game. By the time the physical stuff arrives, you know how to play the game already. You played it.
Right. So, dear listener, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And in case, leave a comment here on Spotify, on YouTube, join our Discord, wherever you want to reach out, or write an email to Mantic Games if you have something you want to tell Alessio. And yeah, we provide all the links necessary in the description of the episode. So for those listening, you can have a quick look through everything we talked about. And wherever you're listening, I wish you a good morning, day, or night, and goodbye.
Goodbye.